surprise you, but I'm not John Panzer. Icarus Flew is the name of this creative nonfiction piece. I loved my Formula Ford. It's a single-seat, open-wheel, entry-level race car. I fell in love with the word race car the first time I saw it because I could read it. I'm dyslexic, and race car spelled backwards is race car. I crashed on a pace lap, Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, summer of 1990. Race car drivers never talk about their wins. We talk about our crashes. Here I am in the guardrail, just back from 2 weeks at Kripalu, an ashram in the Berkshire Hills of Massachusetts. The edge on my racing skills had eroded. The complicated footwork made my first practice back even more clumsy than usual. Heel and toe, double clutch downshifting through turns while braking is how you shift a non-synchromesh racing transmission. Nothing has changed in the standard Hewland racing gearbox in 50 years, and I know a lot about race cars. The car feels heavy right out of the pits. The suspension won't load. The power just slams on uncontrollably. I'm literally driving around the track scared at 50 miles per hour and wondering what the fuck I'm doing back here. It's so disorienting getting a car up to speed, but I push the pedals and the car begins to come to life and me with it. I breathe into its rising speed and power and listen for the motor to instruct me. I extend sensitivity out into the wheels and smile at our braking skills the car and I have together deep into corners. I have some heat in the motor now. The tires are hot and begin to grip. The skill set of physics and mass in motion work through my hands. I set up a corner, turn in, apex, track out, exit, and kind of fuck it up. I turned in too early, and the car slides 2 wheels into the grass, exiting the turn. I have to lift off power and drive it back onto the track. I set up the next corner, turn 5, then 6. Turn 7, I get right and come out hot. There's a car in the straight out in front of me, and suddenly who I am as a race car driver comes alive. I want to run that motherfucker down. I was terribly lonely as a gay man racing cars. I was. Amateur auto racing is a straight male, hard drinking life on the road, hot pavement and garages, one-dimensional shithead sport. On the occasional day off, we go to the track because we don't know what else to do. And where most racetracks are located, there isn't much else to do. There's a gun shop, a church, and a titty bar, all together in one parking lot just outside of Heartland Park, the racetrack in Topeka, Kansas. After work, I go with the mechanics to the titty bar and get chatting with the female dancers. "What do you do?" this one dancer asked me. "I'm the zoning commissioner for the city of Topeka," I replied. I started chuckling because I think I'm being funny, pretending to be the person responsible for putting a titty bar, church, gun shop next to each other. But she didn't quite get my meaning and thought I was making fun of her, which I wasn't. So I told her I was gay and not trying to come on to her, just trying to make conversation. But that made her more angry. I was still trying to explain the whole thing to the bouncer, she signaled, when he quite literally picked me up and threw me out the front door. So just when I think I couldn't be any lonelier as a gay man racing cars, I've been thrown out of a titty bar for harassing a female dancer in Topeka, Kansas. I had one close friend in that world, Steve. As you passed Steve in a race, he would turn his head and look at you for like 2 seconds. At 150 miles per hour, that's 440 feet, which is a long damn time at speed. He had this yellow helmet with a black visor that you could see turn and look at you out of your peripheral vision like Darth fucking Vader. Even though my eyes are forward, my attention was on Steve, which is dangerous. I was thinking to myself, how long is he going to look at me? It was really intimidating. That's racing. I was on the outside pole with Elton Julian. We came around the last turn for the green flag to start the race I crashed in. He went to power early, and I went with him, but the field didn't follow, so the flagman waved us off to come around again to start the race. I went into turn, wide to give Elton room. There was gravel on the pavement out wide that was like driving on marbles. I turned the wheel, nothing. I hit the brakes, nothing. Went off the track and into the guardrail at 40 miles per hour. Tore the nose off the car. I've won 2 Formula Ford races. I'm proud of that, but that's not what I'm remembered for. I'm the guy that crashed on a pace lap. My first win, I was shaking so hard, my body so exhausted from the adrenaline, I couldn't get out of the car. It took 4 mechanics, 2 on each side, to lift me out. My legs had turned to jelly. I couldn't walk. I had to be carried to the team motorhome. It was turn 6 at Sebring, Florida, where I first became fast. You turn in with your brakes on, deep into a corner at speed. The rear end gets loose and starts to break away. With really sensitive braking skills, you keep the tires rotating under hard braking just above lockup so you still have some control. You turn into the slide and catch it by coming off the brakes and adding power through the turn. This loads the rear wheels and keeps control while you're sliding. This requires enormous sensitivity in your body with the car. This is the basic physics of any car in motion. My hands froze. I was stunned when the car broke loose this deep and this fast into a turn, but somehow my foot squeezed on the power and the rear wheels gripped. If your passenger car slides, your automatic reaction is to hit the brakes, which makes you spin. In a race car, you fight against habituated reactions you learn from street driving and change them to awareness. I came out of 6. So fucking fast the centrifugal force drifted my car 4 inches from the wall exiting the turn. You can't move your hands or lift off the pedal without spinning. You have to wait as the wall comes at you and hope you hit your turn-in and apex correctly. So this is it. You slide cars through turns on power, inches from a wall, at speeds enough to die if you make a mistake. If you can do this, you'll be rich and famous, and all you have to do is manage your fear. Back on pit lane, Steve walked by me and said, "If you give up control of your car, you deserve to die." I knew what he meant. Now that I was fast, I couldn't make a mistake at speed and expect to live. People don't understand how difficult it is to do this, how terrifying it is, how beautiful it is, how great it feels, how calm and quiet it is, and how awful it is when it goes wrong at speed. How loud crashing is, how it feels to watch your spirit begin to pull out of your body if it thinks that impact you just had was too much, to feel yourself whisper inside, "Oh no, I don't want to go on," and fight your spirit back into your body if you're conscious during a crash. I'm not good at returning to standing still reality. After a race, I'm supposed to stop, get out of the car, and back into a world that extends me mythological status as a race car driver, but doesn't like me. A world that I don't understand, where I don't fit in, and that I don't like. I don't like it here. Icarus flew. God damn it, he flew. Don't you people get that? That's the fucking point of this goddamn piece of Greek mythology. Yes, he flew too close to the sun. His wings melted. He fell into the sea and died. Somehow I live in a world that's reduced this to a parable of moderation, the middle path. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. I flew. But I couldn't manage my fear anymore. I wasn't getting any faster. That's the truth of why I quit racing. You know that feeling of impending doom? You know what that is? That's impending doom. When the safety truck pulled up beside me, I realized I'd been sitting there in my car off the track, staring at the guardrail. I climbed out, walked back to the pits, ignored my team owner and ambulance crew, got out of my racing gear, into my car, and drove 1,900 miles back to Kripalu, that ashram in the Berkshire Hills. There was stillness with the monks that felt safe. I could take my feelings out for a test drive there. After a few days, I was invited up to the guru's house by one of the renunciates. Amrit Desai was this guru's name. He bounced into the room, taking an interest in everyone. After a few minutes, he came over to me and said, "You look so broken. What did you do before you came here?" "I raced cars," I replied. He burst out laughing, but not a mocking laugh, a laugh that felt like compassion and understanding. Then he said, "You know how to fly, but you don't know how to land. You've been taught moderation your whole life," he went on, "but that just isn't you, is it? Stay for a little while, I'll teach you how to land." I had planned a stay at Kripalu for 7 days. I stayed for 1.5 years until I learned how to land.
Thanks, Maureen, that was great. And to thanks all our wonderful readers. Big round of applause for everybody. If you haven't seen the magazine, go take a look at the magazine. It's gorgeous, it's wonderful. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. There's still some food and stuff. Polish that off before we go. And thank you all so much. Have a good evening.